This is Rick Prokop at Piano Power Lessons. Thanks for joining me. Today we're going to be learning to play the robin, but before any further discussion, let me play it for you. Today's lesson is very important and valuable because by playing these two-note phrases throughout the robin, you'll be learning how to attach to the instrument in a very comfortable way, and then how to release from the instrument in a very comfortable way. And the instructions for doing so are very clearly outlined by John Thompson on page 16 in this little article called The Phrasing Attack. So he starts off by saying that phrasing in music is like breathing in speech. We take short breaths and long breaths. If we keep in mind to make our playing of music breathe at the end of each phrase, so that's here and here and here, it will strengthen the rhythm and add immensely to the interpretation of the music. So each phrase or two-note phrase is marked with a slur marking. And that means if you're singing, for instance, if I did G, E, I would connect the sound of the G to the sound of the E. And then I'd take a breath. So I'd do this. G, E, G, E, G, F. Then I take a breath. And then we go up higher, and I can no way sing that. And it would be G, F, breath, G, F, G, E, breathe. And then playing any other instrument, like a violin or a clarinet, the sound of the G would be connected through to the sound of the E. So each one of these two-note phrases would have a connection happening, followed by a breath. So in the case of a violin, they would bow through these two notes and perhaps take their bow off and then attack again, take their bow off, okay? And that would represent the taking a breath before you play and then playing through and then taking another breath. And on the piano, the slur marking of a phrase indicates that you should just play the first note and then connect to the second note. In other words, don't take your hand off until you play that second note. All right, and this can be applied to longer phrases. Say, instead of having two notes, where I would do something like that, say we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, there would be a slur marking for all 7 of those notes, and they would all be connected until the final note, at which point I lift off of the piano. So before looking at how to play the right hand of the robin, let's take a look at the 4 steps involved in playing a two-note phrase. All right, on page 16, where it says play the following with the right hand, we're going to take a look at that first line, and we're going to begin with the thumb playing on the G above middle C. So in keeping with the first picture on page 16, I'd like you to just take your index finger of your left hand and lift your wrist up. And what's happening is your forearm is lifting from your elbow and your hand remains completely relaxed and the fingers are just hanging there. So get that hand very loose and then simply drop on the G. Now, what I'd also like you to do is just fall off the keyboard because it's that free of a drop. And the muscle that's allowing you not to fall off the keyboard is your deltoid muscle of your shoulder, which is holding your arm up, okay? Without that muscle, you would just fall off. But I want you to experiment with that and just get a feeling of just letting go on that first finger. All right, and from there, the second finger is going to play, and it's moving in a circular fashion, right? The fingertip is describing an arc, so that's going to pull us forward. So we have a drop of the wrist, finger plays here, and it pulls the wrist forward, and then we come up. The wrist is getting higher and higher, and it's returning to the original state that we started out in. So we have drop, roll, and then release from the keyboard. Now this drop is preceded by an up motion, right? Because we want the downward momentum. And we need an up motion before we go down. So we have up, down, and then the roll, and then off, and total relaxation all the way through. All right, let's go through the rest of the examples on that first line. So we've done thumb to 2. Let's try thumb to 3 now. Now notice when you come off that the finger is vertical or perpendicular to the key. And what that is a check. If your finger isn't vertical, it means your wrist isn't high. You want your wrist to be high and hanging, so that's a good check to do. Then we try 1 to 4, same thing. Say, vertical finger pointing down as I remove the hand from the keyboard, and then thumb to the 5th finger. There's one other thing that John Thompson doesn't mention when slurring from your thumb to another finger. And that is, if you keep that finger passively flexed and try to roll up on it, you end up on the nail of that finger. So what you have to do is slightly extend that finger. See, I'm slightly extending the 5th finger so that when I roll up on it, I end on the pad of that finger. So that's really important. And it's very difficult to do if that 5th finger or 4th finger is weak and is not used to extending. All right, let's take a look at the right hand of the robin. The majority of the 2-note phrases are going to begin with the 5th finger now. So we have to practice just dropping comfortably on that 5th finger. And depending on how you sit will influence how you play that finger. So if you're sitting with the wrist about the same height as the elbow, what happens on the drop is the wrist goes well below the level of the white keys. And then you proceed from there. And if I'm sitting higher with my elbow well above the height of the wrist, it'll prevent me from going any further lower than this. But in both cases, there's a free drop of the wrist. So with the robin, John Thompson has set up a kind of call and response between 2 robins. So there's this robin, and then there's a robin answering. And then we come back to the original. And then the conclusion by robin number 2 is that. So since this is the first piece in the book where we'll be moving the position of our hand from one place to an entirely different place, it's going to be scary for you, and you're going to be looking up the music, you're trying to figure out where to put your hand on the keyboard. So I want to avoid doing that first off. And what we're going to do is just combine both of the robins in this one area, okay? The call and response. Instead of going up to here, we'll just repeat it down here. So it'll go like this. We start with G, E, G, E, G, F. And then we do G, F, G, F, G, E. All right, then we do the original again. G, E, G, E, G, F. And now we do G, F, E, D with 3 and 2, and then E, C with 3 and 1. Now, before we try the whole thing with the metronome on, I want to point out how the thumb plays when you slur up to it, when you finish on the thumb. And the way we're going to play the thumb when we slur to it is by straightening it out. You ever do the thumbs up? Thumbs up, okay. The thumb is straight now. So whatever finger we're coming from will go to this straightened thumb, see? Now 4 to 1. And note how the thumb is finishing. It's vertical, it's perpendicular to the surface of the keys, and the nail is facing out about 30 degrees from this line. See that? In all cases. So we end the piece that way, and I just want to show you how it's done. And then we float off, thumb is still hanging down, all the other fingers are still hanging down. All right, we're going to start out with one phrase at a time with the metronome on. So we'll do the first line, for instance, the G, E, G, E, G, F. And we're counting in 3, and we're coming in on 3. So we have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Now you notice whenever I said the number 2, 2, that was my cue to come off and finish with a high wrist. 3, 1, off. 3, 1, off. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, off. Okay? And now we're going to do the next phrase, G, F, G, F, G, E. So let's try that. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, off. Okay, let's put them together. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, off. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, off. That's good. All right, let's go down to the third phrase, which is the same as the first phrase. The third phrase begins on the end of the second line with that G and carries us to the third line, okay? Metronome's on. Let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, then the final phrase is G, G, F, E, D, E, C. So let's try that one together. Coming in on 3 now. 1, 2. G, F, 2, 3, 1, off. 1, 2, 3, 1, off. You see how I did that steady rise to the off. Okay? Let's do that, the last 2 phrases again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, off. 3, 1, off, off. 1, 2, 3, 1, off. All right, we're going to end the lesson by playing the whole thing through at a kind of medium tempo, the one we've been doing so far, and then I'll do it at a much quicker tempo. And I'd like you to practice this until the next lesson and get it down to where it's easy to do in this one position. All right, so when I'm counting 3, 1, 2, come off on 1, 2, and then you're in midair on 2. 3, 1, 2, 3, off, 2. See? So we'll go through the whole thing like that. And nice slow tempo. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, off, 2, 3, 1, off, off, 1, 2, 3, off, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, off, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, off. And I'm punching the downbeat more, right? Punching that, grabbing it more. Okay. Okay, now we'll play it a little faster and I'll add the bass part. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All right, that should do it for today. Thanks again for joining me at Piano Power Lessons. I hope to see you next time.